Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy SoSo, in case you ain't know so, and welcome back to another dope episode of Sports with SoSo. Coming to you live, y'all. This week, the Dolphins stay undefeated at home versus the Raiders. The Heat get on a winning streak and keep it rolling. The Panthers are 8-2 in their last 10 and climb up the Atlantic Division. It's time to take a ride, y'all. Let's go. And we back like it never left. Yo, what it do, playboy?
Yes, sir. We back. Episode 163 in the building.
Damn,
163, dog.
163 episodes, my G.
Kind of wild. We've been doing this for that long. I don't think the only thing I've committed longer to this is probably my fiance. This is my second longest running commitment, I think.
We're riding it, dog. We're riding the wave, dog. It's been and you know what's crazy? It's always as like the year ends, right? Where we look back and we're like, bro, we're deep in this game, dog. You know what I mean?
And the year is ending quick.
It's ending quick, and we look at where we're at again. You know, second season of OnlyFans, 160 something episodes. We'll probably be by like 175 by the time the year is over. Like definitely in the 170s for sure. But it'll be wild, man. It's just a good ride, dog. It's a good ride, and we really got to be thankful to the people who support us. You know,
That's
everybody
right.
who subscribes to the show. We appreciate you guys. Like you don't believe. Everybody who's hitting me up for the OnlyFans stickers. It's amazing. Those things are hot. Actually dropped one on the golf course today. Go find it.
Go look for that thing.
Go find it. We also have the OnlyFans merch. Shout out to Empire Boutique. It's coming soon. We have some t-shirts dropping right in time for the playoff push as the Dolphins are continuing to get serious. Yeah, man. Yeah, that was a great time fucking horn right there, bro.
Hey,
good job.
Thanks,
man.
bro. I do it. You know, I do what I can. I do my part. But yeah, man, it's been a wild ride so far this year. We got the playoffs are almost, right there for the football. You got basketball heating up right now. It feels like playoff basketball with this in-season tournament. You got hockey, which I'm going crazy over. The Hard Rock app is live, so it makes things a little bit more exciting, and I can't wait to get into all of it with you.
Absolutely, dog. Let's jump straight into it then. Let's start, since you mentioned the Hard Rock app, our lock of the week, the Miami Dolphins, right, did not cover the spread.
No,
hopefully you did not bet the house, right?
Hey.
And if you did, send us a letter. We'll send you our sympathies.
Always bet responsibly, and if you have a problem, 1-800-GAMBLER. But they didn't cover the spread this past week. They came up just short, which was a bummer. But they won the game, and at the end of the day, that's really what matters, right? So.
Absolutely. Staying undefeated at home also, right? Like that's a big thing when we think about it, because for a team that's angling to get some type of home field advantage for the playoffs, this just bodes, as more reasoning as to why we need to continue to win games at home, win games in general, period, and give ourselves the best shot to get a higher seed that we can achieve this year. Because there's a lot of good teams in the AFC. There's a lot of good teams in the AFC. But the difference or what's separating them right now is who can win consistently. Yeah, you might lose to a tough opponent, and that's okay. You bounce back. But are you losing to tough opponents and losing games that you shouldn't be losing? Like, those are things that, as a good team, you have to avoid. And let's be honest, for us, especially in this game, the way we saw it folded out, like we said on OnlyFans, go watch that right now if you haven't already. Martin did a great job on that show too, man. Shout out to Martin. Like we mentioned on OnlyFans that the good teams win no matter what. A win is a win is a win. On top of that, you got to find ways to win games when everything isn't going well. You got to find ways to put a drive together to get a field goal or something like that, or get a touchdown to put yourself ahead. And the Dolphins did that in spurts, right? We didn't see the offense clicking, but what we did see is the evolution into playoff mode, right? Where the defense was clicking on all cylinders in all three phases. The defensive line was doing great, putting pressure on O'Connell, even though he did make some good throws. The linebackers did a great job of tackling that day. They really kept Jacobs on the ground and really, limited his yards after contact. And also the secondary. Obviously, we saw Ramsey with the 2 picks, especially the game-sealing one. But Howard has some big tackles, too. He made some good defensive plays. He was one-on-one with Devontae Adams down the field. He had actually 2 tackles on screens that they tried to run to Devontae Adams. So, we saw evolution of this Dolphins team. And as a Dolphins fan, we probably would have looked at it and been like, damn, dog, we're going to probably lose this game or put ourselves in a tough position where we don't want to be. But the Dolphins avoided that in every single way that they could.
Same old Dolphins. That's what we didn't hear this week, same old Dolphins. Because in, typical Dolphins fashion in the past, fresh out of the bye week, going up against an AFC opponent like the Raiders, who their storyline this year is they just fired their, big money head coach, McDaniels, their own McDaniels, right? And then now they have an interim head coach who's a player's coach, and they're all fired up, 2-0 in the last 2 games. So typical Dolphins in the past, out of the bye week would have let us down. They probably would have came out flatter. The defense probably would have let up more points, and it would have been, we would have been in full-blown panic mode with the rest of the AFC continuing to climb around us. But we got the job done, and the storyline for us is still going to continue to be, can we get it done against teams with winning records? We'll get to that, as they come. We're going to have to get that monkey off our back. But the important thing is the W's in the, the win column. And we got 7 of them right now.
And more importantly, like, not only the amount of wins, Joel, I'm sure you're going to harp on this right now. Like, who we've beaten isn't necessarily a who's who. But when you see other teams losing and us being mentioned at the top of the AFC, that's really good news, man.
Yeah, so who do we got in the AFC right now? You have number 1 right now for the number 1 spot. You got the Baltimore Ravens, who are sitting, I believe, at 8-3. I don't think they've had their bye week just yet.
That is correct.
Then you have a 3-way tie because Kansas City just lost on Monday night to Philadelphia. It's us, Kansas City, and I believe the Browns all sitting at 7-3.
That is correct. This guy knows the standings, dog.
So, it's and then after that, you look at the hunt, in the hunt for the wild card in the last couple spots, and it's getting dicey, man. You got teams that, the team that we blew out 70-20 in the Denver Broncos are starting to get hot. The Las Vegas Raiders, like we said, they had their issues. Granted, they ran into a buzzsaw when they came to play us. At home, that's what you're going to expect. But they're finding their groove now post McDaniels, and so I think that you got to give us a little bit more credit where it's due. Like you said, Ramsey, MVP of this game. Gotta love to see the defense firing on all cylinders at this point in the season, being healthy and making plays.
Absolutely, bro. And look, a team that we didn't talk about, a lot of people aren't talking about, are the Jaguars, right? They're also one of those 7-3 teams who are leading the AFC South, but not necessarily an experience-laden team, right? At least with the other teams in contention or the teams that we're trying to put ourselves against, right? The Baltimores, the Kansas Cities, those type of teams are the teams that we're looking to be like, all right, let's keep the pace with these guys, because if we can keep the pace with them, that just shows A, that we have a really good team, right? But B, it shows that we're on that cusp of being a potential playoff winning team. Because that's what it comes down to, dog. Like, we can have an amazing record. We can win 12 games this year and go 12-5, and that'll be awesome to win the AFC East. But it's all going to be for naught if we don't go out there and get a playoff win, especially if we're at home, right? Like, if we when we do win the AFC East, right, and solidify that home playoff game, we need to make sure that we win that game because it's at home. So it's not enough to just get to the playoffs. We know that that's the bar, but the true test is getting a playoff victory, dog. And that's something that we haven't seen this Dolphins franchise do.
And it's so wild that with this team that we have, which is leading the NFL in a bunch of statistical categories that I know we can get into. But, with this team that we have, that the expectation is just win a playoff game. It's not, let's go out and win the AFC outright. Let's make it to a Super Bowl. It's, all right, don't put the cart before the horse here. Let's just win a playoff game, which is something we haven't seen in the last 20 years. Yeah. And then we'll figure it out. We got house money at that point. We can play with house money, but we desperately need a playoff victory in this franchise.
It's the thing that all the Dolphins fans, both past and present, those guys who have been here since the 70s, the people who have been here since the 90s, since the 2000s, like, we need a playoff victory because we've seen different versions of teams that can possibly make it, don't really get there, never really have anything to go over the hump. This team has all of the ingredients to get over the humps, including the coaching. Now, for me, in this particular game against the Raiders, I didn't necessarily love what McDaniel was doing, because there was some screenplays that he called that I'm like, man, we got to get away from that. And we need to learn how to be a physical team, i.e. that 4th-and-1 play that we talked about on OnlyFans that we broke down. Like a Baltimore team is running that ball, right, on 4th-and-1. A Kansas City team is running that ball or doing a QB sneak or some shit like that. For us to be on their level, like I was talking about earlier, we need to do things like that and show that we're a physical team, dog. Like, we need to push teams back and say, you know what, we trust Mostert, we trust Jeff Wilson, we trust Ahmed, we trust Achane, whoever the guys in the backfield to get the play done. Because why the hell do we have Alec Ingold on the team if we're not going to use that guy? Like, he's a fullback that can lead block for a reason. Like, let's get. Go ahead.
And we reset the fullback market with Alec Ingold, you know, as far as paying him. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. Use him. But now that we're on that topic, you know, we talked about it a little bit on OnlyFans, but we have a little bit more information now on the running back room in Miami. And we got Mostert, who's looking fine. He's looking healthy. I don't think there's been any ailments there. But Ahmed went down in this game, and I believe he's out on the IR. I think that's what I had seen. I don't know if you have any other details around that.
The only thing that I saw is that the Dolphins are going to put him on the IR. He's the 7th or 8th player, I believe, that's hit the IR this season for the Dolphins. Not tough, because that kid has been playing great. And, you know, we said it in the chat. Like, this dude is really making the most of his opportunities, the limited opportunities that he's getting. Because it's not like he's getting 7-8 carries a game. It's like, hey, here's 3 carries. Go get 20-something, 30-something yards. And he's been effective catching the ball
and some catches.
Yeah.
He had a receiving touchdown in that game, and there was a couple plays that, you know, we dumped it off to him that he made something out of nothing. But then we also had Achane, who went down in the game. Are we going to have him for Friday?
Yeah, I doubt it. Because I think, like, you just want to be so careful with this kid, right? We know that he's such a beast. He's such an asset. And beyond this season, we're going to need him. We're going to need him for the playoffs, but we don't need him right now. Granted, with the injury to Ahmed, that kind of shortens that depth that we have, right? But I think that Mostert has shown that he's doing a great enough job this season to keep managing the heavy workload, and throwing Jeff Wilson in there, throwing, you know, letting him get some catches and come out the back. I think we can find ways. Again, he was clear. Achane was clear to come back into the game. McDaniel saw the mound and said, nah, we're not going to do that. So I don't think that they're going to play him so quickly against a stout Jets defensive line, right? Where you want to be physical, and you're asking a lot of that guy to be physical that quickly. I just rather them say, fuck it, we're going to sit on him and let him rest this week. It's a quick turnaround. We're going to attack the Jets a different way. Let's get it that way.
So, you know, no Ahmed and no Achane. That means we're going to have to see Jeff Wilson this game.
Yeah, for sure. And look, that's another dude besides Mostert, right, who's gotten the majority of the carries. Wilson, when he has the chance, has made plays. He's made plays. Now, he's not getting enough chances to make enough impactful plays, but when you're only getting 4 targets a game, 6 targets a game, it's hard to make that impact. Now he's going to have a chance to have more targets, more carries, more looks his way. So I expect him to continue to contribute to this offense. And look, you mentioned the offensive stats earlier in the segment, right, before we move on from the Dolphins. They're still number 1 in NFL offense as far as yards per game, 434. Passing still leading the NFL in 291 yards per game. Second in rushing, 143 yards per game. And some of them are padded, right, because of the big performances that we had. But it shows that our offense can just ignite as quickly as possible. I mentioned it to start the segment. The Dolphins didn't necessarily get off to the greatest start, but once it got going, we saw a quick touchdown. And then we saw another quick touchdown. And it was like, all right, here, I thought we were going to see the avalanche. Credit to the Raiders defense for playing well and stepping up to the challenge. And those guys have everything to play for, right? They're playing on their new head coach, like you had mentioned. So it wasn't surprising to see these guys play with their hardest and give us a tough game. Now we have to remove ourselves from that, say that the victory is over, and focus completely on the Jets. That's why I don't think we should play Achane right now, and just because I don't think that we need to risk it. I think that the Jets are bad enough on offense that we can win a low-scoring game if our offense can't light it up against their defense. They're starting a third-string quarterback, for Christ's sakes. Like Tim Boyle, he's 0-3 in his NFL starts, 3 touchdowns, 6 interceptions as a starter, including 0 touchdowns and 1 interception this year as a starter. So I don't think the Dolphins defense is too worried about the challenge that they're going to face. I think we know this is going to be a low-scoring game because of who the opponent is. But I think we got to be cautious and try to win this game 21-14, 21-7, 21-9, something like that.
I just hope the Dolphins at least score 10 more points than the Jets in this game because they are a 9.5-point favorite. And I think that they can get it done. I think that the way that they get it done is defensively, like you just mentioned. So don't be surprised if we see a Dolphins defensive touchdown in this game.
No, for sure. Don't be surprised to see that because I feel like Ramsey and Howard are really sniffing the ball well. We saw those guys around the ball a lot, and O'Connell was making good throws. And I think he just played better than any of the quarterbacks that the Jets have put on the field this year. So, yeah, I'm expecting their quarterback to play like dog shit and our DBs to be aggressive, right? And go after balls. It's going to be fluttering. It might be windy. It might be raining. Who knows?
Here's another thing that I'm thinking is going to be a key for success in this game. Time of possession. The Dolphins offense, we want to make sure, we're out there a lot longer than their offense is out there because their offense, let's be frank, they're not going to be out there very long when they do get out there. So it's a matter of how we can control the game script, how we can control the clock and control the flow of the game. And if we can make sure that their defense is out there for extended periods of time and we can gas them out, I think that's going to be the way that we can get it done against a tough Jets defense.
I like it, Doug. I like it. So you're sticking with what's your lock of the week? Let's hear it. I know you're taking the Dolphins.
I'm gonna take the Dolphins let me down this week, again against the Raiders. I understand that, but the Bills just hung like 40 on this same Jets team. So I'm expecting like a 31-10 victory for this game.
All right. So you're taking the cover. Okay.
I'm gonna take the Dolphins spread on this one. Yep.
And
if I'm gonna tease a little prop bet. Defensive touchdown. Anytime defensive touchdown.
I like it. I think that for me and my lock of the week, I'm going to go Dolphins winning money line for sure. And I'm going to hold it to the under. The over under is 41.5. I don't think that the Jets are going to score that much. They're going to resort to a lot of field goals. And even ourselves, I don't see us putting up 30 something points on this Jets defense. They're a good team.
Not a bad parlay right there. Money line and the under.
Money line and the under is going to be SoSo's parlay. So if you guys hit, let us know on Instagram. We'll shout you out and we'll probably send you a sticker for winning. Who knows? Of OnlyFans. You got to keep it rolling.
Yo, and by the way, I had a Dolphins parlay this past week. I went 4 for 5 on it, bro. I hit on Tyreek Hill touchdown. I hit on what did I say? Raheem Mostert rushing yards. What else did I have there? Shoot. The only one that didn't hit was I needed a sack by Brad Chubb, bro, and it never came.
He got close even
a couple times,
especially on the last 2 drives where he actually put hands on O'Connell, and again, always trying to get him up high instead of trying to swipe his feet.
Well, there was both the times that the sacks that Jalen Phillips was involved in. It was because of sack pressuring on the other side, and then him, just kind of stepping into him. So it sucks. It is what it is. But I'm back at it this week on Friday this time. Black Friday, baby. Let's make it Green Friday.
Let's make it happen. No, not Green Friday. Aqua and teal, man.
Aqua and orange. I'm talking about Blue Friday then. Blue faces, baby.
Blue, I'll take an orange or Aqua Friday. Nothing green.
Fins
Nothing
up,
green.
Baby. Fins up.
OnlyFans. Check it out. We're going to bring you that recap. Maybe not Friday night, but you'll get it on Saturday. So tune into that. Now, we got to jump into another hot team in South Florida. A team that really started off the season a little bit slower than a lot of people anticipated, and that's the Miami Heat, who have gone 8-2 in their last 10 games, including ripping off a 7-game winning streak, dog. This team has really surprised me. That's the best way that I could put it, because I didn't see the type of experience on this team, right? Not on our core, right? Because we know what the core is between Bam, Hero, and Jimmy, even though Hero's out. But like, I wanted to see the rest of the guys kind of show that Heat culture, show their grittiness, show what they can bring to this table. And we got to shout out these guys, man. Highsmith has been playing great. The rookie Hawkins has been playing amazing. Duncan Robinson, dude, has been on fire. I think he's shooting like 46% from 3 in like this stretch of 10 games for the Heat. Like, we're really seeing the emergence of this bench or this assortment of role players that the Heat has, and really turn itself into a second unit. Like, we used to call them the unlikely heroes, but like that name doesn't even fit this group anymore because you can rely on these guys. And I think that
you want to know something?
I want to know something.
This is gonna be a hot take, dog.
Damn, what a good thing we're doing it on the podcast.
This might be a problem amongst Miami Heat fans, but
What is it?
I don't know if it's coincidence or what, but this Heat team that we're looking at right here, right now, started to get real hot as soon as one player stopped playing.
I will concede that, but here's what I will counter to you, right? That I will point out to you what his biggest impact is, right? And we're talking about Tyler Hero missing games, right?
Yep.
Guess what? Out of those 10 games, guess how many of those games have been the Heat blowing the team out or winning over 10 points?
Over 10 points?
Yeah.
Shit. Maybe 2 nights ago when we played the Bulls, probably was the only one.
And that was it. Everything else was a close game, had to grind it out. He had a nice, comfortable lead in the fourth quarter, give it up, have to fight back to make free throws, whatever. And Tyler Hero alleviates that because you know what? That guy's injecting 20 points, 23 points per game every night to make that 2.3, 4 point victory margin into an 8.9 point, 10 point victory margin. So fair enough. You can say that Tyler Hero, the team is playing better, but when Tyler Hero was here, the offense was amazing. We found a good defensive unit, which has been playing really well because even though Duncan is killing it with the percentages, a guy like Alonzo Highsmith isn't really going to light it up or give you that many nights where he's scoring over 6 points, right? Jaquez, he's going to get his gritty 10 points every night, every here and there, but you don't have that consistency when it comes to scoring points, which we know is what this team severely lacks. Offensive firepower, on call, on duty. Before it was like, Coño, only Hero is doing it. Where's Duncan? Now they both started to pop off. Hero got hurt, and we've seen Duncan continue that. So we're staying afloat right now offensively, even though we're missing Tyler Hero. But that's because Duncan Robinson is really playing lights out. And we haven't even talked about Bam yet because I feel like Bam has been his most efficient self. And he's been doing that all while being a defensive player of the year. You know what I mean? Like this dude is going out there and locking down guys, being super efficient, grabbing rebounds, and really focusing on doing the work where maybe he doesn't get the rebound, but he's holding down a center and blocking him off, right? To allow a guy like Jimmy to come in, allow a guy like Lowry to come in and get some rebound. Highsmith, who's active on the boards to go in and get some rebounds. So this team has really been a gritty type team. And it really fits the Heat culture, bro. And I'm sure Spo is loving it.
I'm loving it, man. You got to know Spo's loving it. I mean, we talked about it already. This team is surprising me right now as it stands. Yeah. You know, I was not very confident in this unit and what they're capable of doing. And looking again at the outside, you know, what's Jason Tatum doing in Boston and what's Joel Embiid doing in Philadelphia and what's Dame Lillard doing in, you know, Milwaukee. And it's like, dude, forget about that. You know, the Heat are supreme. They are elite. This is the culture. This is where you want to play. And the guys that come here and come to play for us, bro, it turns them into monsters, man. And I think, you know, we talk about Duncan Robinson, you know, he was the guy that got the bag. He got the $90 million deal a few years ago and then kind of, you know, regressed a little bit in his career. And then now Max Strus is gone. Tyler Hero's gone. That opens up the door for a white guy to come in and start balling. And here comes our other token white guy, you know, Duncan Robinson, and he's stepping right into it, man. He's playing fantastic, and I what I love about there's a lot of differences between him and Hero. Hero can control the tempo, the pace of the game, and all that stuff. But you know what I always knock on Hero is the efficiency and the amount of shots that he's chunking up, and how many times he gives the ball away and turnovers and stuff like that. Duncan is a little bit more conservative. You're going to get more reserve play from him, and you're still going to get the upside of having a 20, 25, 30-point night from him without as many mistakes and turnovers. And the defense is pretty much a wash for both of those guys because they can both be liabilities on any given night, but that's where the rest of the team is picking it up. And you talk about Bam is playing like a fucking madman right now, and the best thing about it is, bro, you look at him, you can tell the kid's having a fucking blast. Every game, he's having fun. Not just because they're winning, but like there's just something about it right now that like it feels like he's in his best mode right now.
Well, you can tell that he's just dominating, and he can tell when he's dominating opponents, right? And really taking advantage and forcing his will, allowing what they can do on the basketball court. Because right now, like I mentioned it, Bam, we've talked about Bam being a defensive player of the year before candidate and here and there, but like this dude is doing it like across the board, all positions from like if we have to full court press, he's gonna full court press, and he's always doing it more now because we're undersized. And that lineup that I was talking about, which was our starting lineup, as a matter of fact, against our latest victory, was Duncan, Highsmith, Jimmy, Bam, and Lowry. I think I forget what was probably the fifth starter, but that was it. So like you think about that, and who's gonna do the defensive work? Who's gonna do the big man work? That all falls on Bam's shoulder, like, and he's doing it in spades. You know what I mean? Like this dude is averaging 53% from the field this year, like 22 points. He's averaging 10 rebounds, 4 assists, keeping his turnovers low at 2.7, which is something that we harped about last year. As far as Duncan, I think that we've seen an uptick in his turnovers a little bit this year, but it's only because he's being more aggressive, going to the hoop, drawing those fouls, and doing a good job of making his free throws when he's getting there. This dude has always been clutch, and this season he's averaging 90% on the free throw line. So that's a guy that you want to have him continue to be assertive with his hands and with the ball in the hand. And I think that's what Tyler Hero brings, right? He's that dude that can create when the ball is in his hands and do things that are not necessarily a grinded out type offense where you have to move the ball multiple times to get a good shot. But, I think that the Heat are really focused, man. This run in California that they had, not this run in California, but just the fact that they've been on the road so often this year, and they had a little bit of a West Coast trip. Like they've just been able to continue to grind and win games. They're ugly, like we were saying, and not every game is going to be pretty in the NBA. But the fact that the Heat are beating opponents that they have to beat, that are, let's just face it, they're inferior opponents, right? Because they don't have the skill level or the experience. We need to take advantage of that. That in itself, this little streak has propelled us, propelled us to fourth in the East. We went on an 8-2 run, Joel. We're now at 9-5, fourth in the East. That just shows you how important this run has been to find the rhythm of this team to start winning basketball games, and how we're going to win basketball games moving forward for the rest of the year. It's not like this is going to be a one-time fluke where we're hot right now. No, I expect us to be this type of team even when Tyler Hero comes back, because offensively we're not going to be that juggernaut scoring 130 points.
Dog, and the messed up thing is that there should be one more win in that column, and unfortunately we lost a tough one. So since when did we last record? Was it Monday or Tuesday? I'm trying to figure out.
I believe it was Tuesday. If
we recorded Tuesday, that's the night that we were playing the Hornets. We won that game. Then we came back home. We played the Brooklyn Nets. And we won. And then we go on the road.
That's the game that Caleb came back.
Correct. And then we go on the road Saturday to go face the Bulls, right? And we start off the game 22-2. 22-2.
Murking them.
The whole game. I'm talking about 47 minutes of basketball. The Heat had the lead on the Bulls.
Domination.
And in the last minute of the game, dude, we just literally just gave it back to him and said, here you go.
Dog, and you know what? I think that game is on Spo. That game is on Spo because he didn't go to a different lineup. He kind of stuck with the lineup for about a minute and 40 seconds, and that was probably too late. You know what I mean? Like you needed to switch stuff up, not necessarily to go more defensive, but just to be like, all right, I have my 4 guys here, but I need a bucket, right? Like I need a bucket. Jimmy's not getting me the bucket. I can't get it out of Bam. Like I need a bucket. Let's figure out a way to get a bucket. Let's figure out a play to get some type of movement to the basket where we can get at get something, a layup attempt, something. Maybe we end up at the free throw line and we get back into a scoring rhythm that way. And those things can happen, right? I'm not really blaming Spo for the loss, but I just think that he rolled that a little bit too long, and that can happen.
Yeah, you can also look at Jimmy taking the threes at the end too. And it's like, obviously in a playoff game, in a championship game, all right, Jimmy Butler taking that shot, but it's like, bro, you're not that 3-point specialist. So let's draw up a play to get the ball in the hands of the guy that, we feel the most confident shooting that shot. And it was just kind of one of those that I was like, let's just get out of here and on to the next game, which is also against the Bulls.
Right. But you know what? I think that highlighted how important having a real floor general point guard would be in that clutch situation, right? Where you have some guy to really slow down the offense and set everything up. And then we probably would have got better looks down the stretch. But something that we really appreciated that the Heat were doing last year or the previous year, not last year, 2 years ago, was bouncing back. right? That was a big theme that we were harping on. Like, it's all right if you guys go out there and lose a game and try not to make it a back-to-back. Don't lose games back-to-back. Always
Don't
build a new
compound
streak.
mistakes.
Don't compound the mistakes. And that's exactly what we saw. The Heat got into the game against the Bulls the very next 2 days later, and boom, same thing. Got off to a hot start, started beating these guys, had a nice little lead at halftime, and continued to pour it on all the way throughout the third quarter. Got a little bit dicey where Bulls started to make a run in the fourth quarter. But then again, the Heat said, not today. We're going to go back and focus on the tape that we did from the night before. Let's figure out a way to attack these guys. Suppose switch some things up, and then boom, we were able to coast to the victory where we didn't really have to sweat it down the line.
Largest margin of victory so far for the Heat this year, 18 points.
And look, and it's the way that we won it, with Duncan being on fire, right? Bam being super efficient, 23 points, another double-double game for him. And it's just, those are the ways that this Heat team can win. When we have good, efficient plays from our main two guys, and Jimmy and Bam, and then we get a good performance from somebody off the bench, i.e. Duncan, i.e. Josh Richardson, who had a good game in that stretch as well. Kyle Lowry has hit some big shots. Like, we're getting just good minutes from everybody. And I think the return of Caleb has been like really motivational, because now these guys feel a little bit more complete, right? Like, all right, we almost got the whole entire squad together. Let's keep holding it down until Tyler Hero comes back, and then let's see how unstoppable we can be. Because right now, Bam is looking really healthy, knock on wood. Jimmy's looking great, healthy, knock on wood. The rest of the guys looking great. If this can continue for the Heat, I'm not saying it's going to last for 3 straight months or 2 straight months, but let's ride these waves, right? Where we go on winning streaks, where we get 4 or 5 games in a row, and before we face a tough team, and probably go to battle toe-to-toe there and see what we can put together.
Yeah. And they keep getting tough, man. It keeps getting tougher. We got a bunch more road games coming up too. So
yeah, bro. And look, it's not going to get easier. And again, it's not necessarily that you're playing a who's who of the NBA or teams that are expected to win the NBA championship, right? But you got to go on the road and play against Cleveland. That's going to suck in the middle of the week, right, on Wednesday. Then you go face a rival in the New York Knicks. That's a playoff team that we have some history against. And then you got to go and play in Brooklyn the next day, and make that a back-to-back. Not going to be easy, because those teams, they want to knock us off. They see us as quote unquote an equal team to them. So they really want to do their best of playing really well in order to get a victory against us. We have to continue to do a good job of playing well on the road, because we still have more road games into early December before we get a nice home stretch that we can really use to either move up in the standings, right? Or keep pace with the standings, because right now I really feel like that 3rd, 4th spot is a spot to be, I don't think that we'll achieve a 1 or 2 seed, but who knows? Other things can improve, obviously, right? And who knows if we get a trade? I know there's a lot of talk about Zach LaVine and his availability from the Chicago Bulls. Funny enough that we played them twice, and in both games he played really well. That's a guy that is obviously interesting to have here, but at what cost, right? And also what type of role would he play here? Obviously, offensively, he brings a lot to the table, but it's just question again, like, what would he bring to the team defensively, and what type of lineups would we put on the floor with LaVine? Who knows, man? Maybe there's a bigger fish out there than him, right? So maybe you don't go for the first name or the first guy that's available. All I know is that the Heat have to continue playing this style of basketball, because it fits them. Gritty basketball fits the Miami Heat culture.
All about the culture, baby. Pizza mañana on deck.
Pizza mañana on deck. Wifey was like, we're going to seriously eat that? Yes. Yes. Until it's over and the Heat can't keep winning, we're going to do the pizza mañana. It just is what it is. It is what it is. Now, let's jump into the team up in the Coral Springs area that is not going to be outdone by the Miami's Heat recent winning streak and put together their own 8-2 stretch in these last 10 games. We're talking about the Florida Panthers, a.k.a. the Cardiac Cats. These guys have been killing it, dog. And it's funny how these 2 freaking franchises, dog, like really marry each other. Now the Panthers are one of the NHL's hottest team. They've jumped up in the standings, second in the Atlantic. Like, what's going on here, dude? Like, are these guys trying to just do the same thing over and over again?
You want to talk about smart parlays? You know what I've been taking?
What are you taking? For some all day.
Well, no, but for some reason, we've just been having the luck that the Heat and the Panthers play on the exact same days.
every time.
Bro, and let me tell you, I've hit a couple times already on that little parlay, whether it's the spread,
Just
depending if I like it or not, or the money line, or a combination of the two.
Just the home teams.
You got to do it, but you got to understand that if one of them loses, they'll probably both going to lose because these teams are just kind of parallel. They're just like side by side. Like they're up, they're both up. Yep. They're down, they're both down. Like it's kind of it's very weird. It's very strange, but I like it.
Super weird, bro. Because even like when you look at the streak from afar, and you're like, damn, these guys put 7-game winning streak. Damn, the Panthers put together a 5-game winning streak. And it was like, what the fuck? Like, how are they doing this at the same time? Pretty much playing on the same day. Like, is it in the script for the NHL and the NBA? Like, I don't know, dog, but I love to see it because I really thought that this West Coast trip was going to show a lot about the Panthers. Yeah, it's good to, we know how good they can be at home, right? But their Achilles heel lately has been putting performances on the road where you can walk away with good games and good victories. And right now, that's all they're interested in, really. They're not necessarily invested in winning games. They're more interested in getting the points and continue to build the points because that's how they were able to jump up to second, right? They get points, and if they don't get points, they're not losing. So they're forcing teams to go into overtime where they can at least walk away with a point, and the other team only walks away with 2 points. You're not getting really damaged there. That's almost like the soccer model, right? Where like your best bet is to just keep drawing, win the games that you can obviously win, draw if you can against the better teams, beat them if you can, and then just don't lose. And that's the way to get racked up the points. Panthers have done that in spades. They beat San Jose, lost to the Los Angeles Kings, like I said, in the overtime game, which was very close, 3-2, and then win another close game against Edmonton, 5-3, after being down 2 goals. Like, I'm sorry, beating Anaheim 3-2 after being down in that game. That's the makeup of this Panthers team that has shown them to be successful. When they can put wins after losses, and not just a win, they usually do 2-3 wins, right? Like, and that's the shit that made their run 2 years ago super incredible when they were pretty much leading the NHL in points. It was like, damn, these dudes really don't lose that often, and it was a loss every 6-7 days, 10 days. That's the type of Panther season that they need to have. And so far, they've been able to achieve it this week or this last week and a half.
Yeah, that last game, though, against Edmonton on Monday night, that was another doozy right there. That one was another doozy. They came out, they were just matching us, goal for goal. It was 3-3 for a little while there, and then we ended up taking the lead 4-3, and we managed to contain their power plays a couple times, which was critical, dude. Big Bob played his ass off in that third period.
Ass off, dude. And you know what, Joel? I'm glad you brought up the power play, right? Because that was their biggest sticking point. They were great in every single offensive category except for power plays. They could never score on a power play. Now, since Kachuk has got here, it's opened up lanes for Sam Reinhart, Carter Verhaeghe, i.e. those guys scored in that Edmonton game, right? Like, those are the opportunities that are being opened in power play opportunities, and these guys are taking advantage of. And I think that just shows why the Panthers are going to or can be one of those offensive potent teams. It's not surprising that they were able to do it 2 years ago. We saw a severe drop-off last year, and it seems that they're back to business, which is just great because yes, for you and I personally on our show, we love to talk about the home teams, right? And anytime that we can have these guys featured and winning, it's awesome for us. But it's also better nationally, right? To have the spotlight on the Panthers, to have the spotlight on the Heat, and see those guys in marquee matchups on Wednesday nights, right? On TNT for national games and stuff like that. Friday nights on ESPN, like those are games that really grow the fan base, helps grow the podcast, helps grow the popularity of the team. That way, when we go out there and we're beating a team like in San Antonio or beating a team in New York, you hear those "Let's go Heat" chants, "Let's go Panthers" chants. Like, that's the shit that really makes it entertaining for us here on the show, because nobody wants to cover losers, and these two franchises are doing a good job right now of keeping it winning.
I'm telling you guys, man. Anytime that you should be betting them no matter what if you're a diehard. But when they're playing on the same nights, parlay them. I'm telling you right now, dog. I'm telling you right now. These two teams are hot right now.
Especially at home. Panthers have won 6 straight games at home.
Oh, and if the Heat are at home and the Panthers are at home, bet the house.
Bet the small house in the back.
Bet the house. Bet the efficiency, dog. Bet the efficiency
in the back. Right. Bet the efficiency in the back. But yeah, Panthers undefeated at home in the last 6 games. That ain't nothing to scoff at. Heat too, right? I think they've won their last 3-4 games at home. So I'd love to see it, right? Home is where the heart is. Got to keep defending that in order to give yourself a chance. And look, the biggest game that the Panthers have in this homestand is against Boston. If you recall, we had a game up in Boston earlier this year, went into overtime. Panthers came up short 3-2. So, and we really played them well. And Boston was undefeated at that time. Panthers only won 2 games at that time. So now I'm interested to see how that role reversal goes and what type of energy the Panthers come out in that game. I'm looking for them to kind of come out with a revenge factor and get a big victory against Boston on, what is it? Tonight. By the time you guys are hearing it, it'll be tonight. So got Boston tonight, and then we got Winnipeg on Friday night. It should be an easy victory there.
Oh, wait a minute. So that means that tonight, as you're hearing this, Miami Heat and the Florida Panthers both play. So
double down. That's what we're telling you. Double down.
Trust you know what I'm gonna be on. You know what I'm gonna be on.
You know what? Hard Rock, hit me up. Trust me. Like,
we gotta get like a Hard Rock ticker down here if they sponsor us.
It's possible. Before we end the show, we gotta mention the honorable mentions. The Canes, right? We're not gonna give them too much time. Shout out to Andy Borregales with the fucking big time tackle on the kickoff return that they had. But he thought that he was gonna get away with, and then he didn't know he was running into a Chico. You know what I mean? From Dade County. So
athlete, dog.
He's no little guy. We saw him in person. He's not a little guy.
He'll lay your ass out.
He will lay your ass out. And Buddy found out real quick. So shout out to Andy for that amazing tackle, man. Yep. And look, shout out to the Hurricanes. They played a good game against a very tough opponent in Louisville. Louisville is not a joke. They're heading to the ACC championship game. They're going to be in a really good bowl playoff game coming up in the holiday season. And even with all that said, even with Tyler Van Dyke having good throws and bad throws, we still had a chance. Connected with Xavier Restrepo on a Hail Mary.
I wish he would have scored right there, bro. I wish he would have scored.
It would have been the highlight of the year, dog.
For sure.
He just came up short, but just the fact that TVD had that confidence and Restrepo shows that ability to be a big-time player and go out there and make big-time catches, like, I love to see that, you know, and to see that bounce back. They got one more game coming up to finish the season in Boston College. Let's see if they can win.
Go back to the drawing board.
And go back to the drawing board and see what happens for next year. Let's real quick for my fight fans. Boxing this weekend. David Benavidez versus Demetrius Andrade in the super middleweight division. They're going to be fighting for David Benavidez IBF title, I believe, or WBA title. This is going to be a big fight because this dude Benavidez has a ton of knockout power. He's knocked out, I think, his last 13 opponents. Don't quote me on that. But I do know that he is a potential candidate for a super fight against Canelo Alvarez. We know that Canelo is undefeated in that super middleweight division, really wants to make noise there, continue to carry that belt. Let's see. David has been talking a lot. He's going to have to put up a good performance against Andrade, who's a crafty veteran. So it's not going to be an easy fight. But if he can knock him out, he could probably get that big payday and go after Canelo. And the last thing we got to talk about, the Marlins. Skip Schumacher winning the Manager of the Year award for the National League. We didn't get a chance to cover it. I think nobody else in the National League deserved that more than him. For him to do the job that he did and really take this team to the playoffs, legitimately take this team to the playoffs behind not having your Cy Young pitcher, having your star player move positions and get into the outfield, like find a silver slugger bat in Luis Arraez and plug him in when people thought he was done, like trade for Berger and Bell and have those moves work. Like everything that the Marlins did this year worked. And I feel like Skip Schumacher was the glue that brought all of it together, right? Like the pieces weren't brought in by him, but he's the one who put everything together. So
he was the straw that stirred the drink. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, bro. And he deserves his credit. And I'm glad that he won it, man. He becomes the 4th Marlins manager to win it, the Manager of the Year award. Do you know the other 3 managers? I didn't put it in the show notes for you.
I'm not even going to look at them. Jack McKeon, McKeon. That's the only one that matters, dog.
He's the OG, right? He won it in 03, obviously, because of the run. But who else made that run in 06? Who was the manager there?
Who was the manager in 06?
Famous Yankee?
Famous Yankee. Shit, I'm terrible at baseball, bro. You got me
George
there.
Girardi in 06. Girardi won it in 06. And then another former Yankee won it in 2020. You want to guess who's that? Yeah, I mean, 2020, dog. Like, that was right there.
Yeah, it was, what's his face? Our most recent manager. I forget his name.
It's Mr. Donnie Baseball, man. Mr. Baseball.
Yeah, no, that guy sucked. I don't even care to remember him. He
Hey, but
wasn't a
look,
great manager.
he did all right that year, you know, enough to win the manager of the year.
I
And
guess.
I don't think he's.
Don
If you had
Mattingly.
to rank him, honestly, it would be McKeon, right? Girardi, because obviously it was a World Series year, and then you would probably put Schumacher third for sure. Because
100%.
like I said, everything was stacked against him. A lot of questions around the Martins organization, ball players, who's going to lead this, that, and the third. And this dude really put a great season for us together. And I am thankful that he was able to win that award because he deserved it, man. I'm sure you are too.
Yeah, I'm happy for him.
That's it, man. We're almost back to golf season. Can't wait. Netflix full swing. Like that shit's going to be on and popping. PGA.
I don't know if you know this, but we're going to see some Tiger Woods golfing here before the end of the year at the Hero World Challenge. So
that's
I'm pretty excited for that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. And you know we're gonna cover it here on Sports with SoSo because that's what we do, man. But you know what, Joel? It's time, man. We got to get out of here. Check this rest of the sports night out, bro. It's time to tell a friend.
Yeah, to tell a friend.
Tell one more friend.
To tell all their friends and family, happy Thanksgiving from Sports with
Yes,
SoSo.
sir. Happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe this holiday weekend. Don't drink and drive, and be mindful of others out there, man. It's the holidays. Be nice, all right? Until next time, it's your boy So and Joel. Peace.
Peace.